Welcome back to the SeriouslyGhetto workshop. It's apparently going to be a few days before I can begin my build. I have almost everything I need. Strangely, the kit is taking forever to get from New Jersey to Joplin, Missouri. That's a separate story, but since I had a few things come in, I thought I'd share what I had and a little bit of information that I didn't cover in the last video. Before I do, I want to say thanks to a couple of people and a few hat tips here, if that's what it is. First is I had promised to share all this stuff as I did my first build with two groups. That's Traxxas Flyers Club, TFC. So I'll be putting this up there, and I'll also be putting it up on Richard Gunter's Rotocross racing group. And a big thanks and hat tip to him. Everything that I've gathered up really is because he pointed me in the right direction, and I'm only able to do this because he's helped me a lot. Whether he knows it or not, I've been chewing his ear off for about 2 weeks with questions about just about everything you could imagine, and he never hesitates to help. He's a great guy. He builds these quads too, by the way, for about the best price you're going to find for anything that's like ready to fly, for those of you who don't want to build. So he comes highly recommended for me. He's a great guy. Now, some of the things I've gathered up, I want to get this out of the way here. I'll show you a few things pretty quick. Is some dowel props I bought. They came in. These are the two-bladed 50-45 bullnose, and they look like pretty good stuff. That's what Richard recommended. That's what I got. Got two sets each of black and red. The price was pretty good. They arrived quick. They look like good stuff. I also got two sets each, red and black, of the triple-bladed 50-45 bullnose. I don't know how you can see them in the package here. They just, I like them. They look like good stuff. Okay. I think I'm going to enjoy these. I kind of want to experiment a little bit as I get going, see the difference. And then I got one set of four-bladed 50-40s. I don't think they're not bullnose, but I just saw them on there. I think they're supposed to be a new product or something, and I thought, well, you know, just to see. So anyway, that came in, and they gave me a couple of nice little stickers here. These will be going on my little homemade landing board. I'll show you that at some point I made. Anyhow, those will be going on there. Whatever I use, if I get a sticker, I generally, if it's good stuff, I generally put it on there and clear coat it over. So anyhow, then from FlightClub, and this is one that has some videos. Really good videos, as a matter of fact, build tips. Richard pointed me to these guys too. You should probably go watch this guy's video if you have any intention of building. He's got several on there, some about ESCs, some about just general building tips, how to clean things up really good. Go watch this, it's worth your time. I don't know his name, I just know it's FlightClub. Okay, and from them I bought a couple of things. I got this landing gear set that Richard's putting on his now. These I like these little landing pads here. They're probably better than whatever was coming in the kit. And you get a little nose bumper too. I don't know how it fits on, but I'll figure it out. It wasn't very expensive. Again, it shipped quick, got to me in a hurry. I also bought a set of these little antenna covers. They come with a little tip that goes over the end of this tube. It's like $2 or something, not much. And I'll probably put it on there just to see how it works, because, you know, why not? Pretty it up a little bit. And then the only thing that I got that I was a little less than happy with, and it wasn't FlightClub's fault because I wasn't paying close attention. This is a motor wired dress-up cover kit, but just turned out to be a couple of pieces of heat shrink. I thought it was going to be some of this plastic-looking mesh stuff that he puts over some of the wires, and then a little heat shrink tube on either end. That's what I thought I was getting on. I don't know anywhere else to get that stuff, but anyhow, next time. But for now, this will still work. I'll use it. And I'm not disappointed with him. I should have paid more attention to what I was actually ordering. Yeah, I got in some at Richard's recommendation, some XT60 connectors. So I'll be changing everything over that's not already to that, and I can see why. It's high current, high capacity. They're good connectors, and they're easy on, easy off. I like that. And then the last thing I really got in is a bunch of heat shrink tubing. It's like $10 or $11, but man, that's going to last a while. There's a whole bunch of it here, various sizes, and a lot more sizes than you get at something like Walmart or Radio Shack. They really didn't have a good selection. This is a pretty good kit, and there's a lot of it there, so I ain't going to run out anytime soon. All right, now, one other thing, pardon me. Some of you may remember that I had a Rise RXD 250 that was a real three-legged dog. That thing, I had it for 3 weeks. It never worked. It went back to Hobby Co warranty, came back to me, still didn't work. It was really a dog. I got my refund for it the other day from RC Planet, and they're okay. They did a good job on their end. But the only good thing to come out of that was that at the very end, I got my refund just in time to catch a pretty sweet deal from A-Main Hobbies on a Tyrannus combo. I got the X9D Plus, a hard case, and an X8R receiver. At some point, maybe next payday or something, I'll be getting an XSR. It's a lot smaller. It's a little different, but so that should be here tomorrow afternoon when it arrives. After I've had my coffee and I'm awake well, I will. I'll probably do an unboxing and put that up also. Other than that, we're really only waiting for the kit to arrive. I don't know what's wrong with the U.S. Post Office. It was only supposed to come from New Jersey. It was I didn't get any tracking status at all until a couple of days ago. It was in Hebron, Kentucky. It sat there for a day. It finally left. Hebron, Kentucky's not that far from Joplin, Missouri, and well, it's an ordeal. Anyhow, I'm not too happy with the shipping. I'm sure I'll be happy with the kit because it's the same one Richard uses. One other little thing I picked up, the guy at FlightClub has these tweezers with a long pointy end. I couldn't find any like that anywhere yet, but I found these at Walmart for soldering. They're pretty pointy. They're not as long as his, but they allow me to get right in there without touching things. That ought to help, and that was a whole $1.50. So picked up a couple little tools along the way also. Now, in the last video, I showed you guys this ESC linker that I bought from Hobby King for about $5. I did solder the ends. Let's see if I can get that up there and show. I don't know if it will or not, but I'm pretty happy with my soldering job. Wish you could see that a little closer. They came out pretty good. They're shiny. That's really not going to focus well. Sorry about that. And my editing and video skills aren't that great. But I put the 3-pin block on, connected it up, and through the BLHeli suite, I did actually flash the upgraded firmware to all 4 of the little B20 amp ESCs that I bought for this build. It was a piece of cake. This was just a breeze, okay? BLHeli suite really makes it pretty easy. Now there's a few options on there, and when I get done here, I'm gonna switch to my desktop so I can point out a couple of things to you. Before I did this linker, this end here you could plug straight into your USB port on your computer, but then you'd only have, you know, however much wire is on the ESC. So I really do recommend a little cable like this, if I can show you again. This one end is just exactly like what is in your computer when you plug something in there, okay? And that fits right in there. See, this could go right into your USB port on your computer, but this end plugs in there, and then you just have a little more room to work with. See, that was pretty cool. Now the other thing is this piece of paper that came with it. They got a pinout diagram. This can be used a few different ways for a few different things, but in this case, with BLHeli suite, it shows the pinout here over on the far right side here by my thumb, and I know you can't see it, but if you order one, you'll get it. Most of this you don't really have to worry about. There's nothing on there that's vital, but it does show the ground and the signal wire. So, and then down below here, there is a link to the drivers you need to make your computer see this, and it also tells you which device it's going to be in BLHeli Suite, because there's a bunch of them. This is the Atmel 328, something like that. It's hard to see on here, and I wear trifocals, so I'm not going to try to read it for you, but you'll see it when I do the next part of this video where we go to the computer. Doing it this way was really easy. Okay, I did the first one, and again I went by the procedure in a video that I watched on FlightClub. Joshua, no, this one's not Joshua Bardwell. I watched, that's another guy you really want to watch some of his videos. Now, Painless 360 has some great videos, but they're higher level, more overviews. Okay, it doesn't go too deep in it, but he gets you where you need to be. Your next step would be to watch this guy at FlightClub and Joshua Bardwell. That he's on YouTube. I don't have a link. I'll see if I can look him up. Maybe put him in the comments before I post this. These guys have great information about the ESCs. We'll get into that a little more later on. But trust me, for those of you who are going to build, if you're going to go to the trouble to do all this stuff and then start trying to tune it, you need to be able to manage your ESCs. It's not that much. It's a few little things, but it's worth doing. Now, one of the things I did is after I flashed the firmware, I made a few preliminary, very basic setup changes from information that I'd gotten from Joshua Bardwell, using the procedure that I watched this guy do. And then I exported an INI file, an initialization file. And as I did the number 2, 3, and 4, I didn't have to set it all up again. I flashed the firmware and then I imported that INI file and it did it for me. That was pretty cool. Now, the next thing is, once you get everything put together where the motors and the ESCs are actually, everything's connected to the flight controller, you can use, instead of this, you can use a pass-through connection through the USB, and I think you need a different driver for it, but I'm not sure. I'll find out as I go. I don't think there was another driver. I think once you got this in, it just knows. But you connect to CleanFlight, and then you use that connection, but you actually run BLHeli Suite, and then it sees all 4 ESCs at the same time, with number 1 being a master, 4 being, or 2, 3, and 4 being slaves, and whatever you do to number 1 will automatically get done to 2, 3, and 4 as well. So you only have to do it once, and it gets copied to all of them. They come out consistent. You don't make a mistake between one or, a couple of them. And there's a few things in there that are really worth the time to do. And again, I recommend you watch Joshua Bardwell's BLHeli Suite explanation for what the options mean, and this is just worth your time to do. Okay, so that's pretty much for this. And until we get a kit in. As soon as we do, I'll be back with a little more. I'll put some links in here to some of the things. I'll try to anyway. And one final thing is, I don't expect to get a terrible lot of feedback from this, but if you do have anything to say, I recommend you don't make comments here on YouTube. Go to either Traxxas Flyers Club or Rotocross Racing, because that's probably where you'll find me. Once I post these, I don't generally come back here very much, and frankly, I'm not real good with YouTube. Not a big social media guy, but I've kind of figured out how to communicate through those 2 Facebook groups. So if you got anything to say or want to know anything that I left out or make suggestions, that's the place to do it, because I probably won't see it here. If you leave a comment here, that's cool. If you want to like and subscribe, that's cool, but it's not required, and I'm not even going to ask you to do it. And if you want an answer, if you want to at least know that I saw it, those would be the places to put it. So, without further ado, let's go to the notebook and take a look at BLHeli Suite. All right, so this is the BLHeli Suite, and this is where it would be when it first opens up. It looks just like this. You'll see there's a lot of options on here. Most of this, once you actually connect your linker and your ESC, most of this won't be here. Only what pertains to your ESC will be here. There's plenty of stuff you can get to in here, but what you need at first is really a lot simpler than this. And if you watch the video that Joshua Bardwell did, you'll be able to see what each of the settings that are available to you for BLHeli Suite, or for the BLHeli firmware. At least for the little B ESCs I have, you'll be able to see those options. Now, one of the things you have to do at first with that little ESC linker I got is go to this Make Interfaces tab. And up here you can see it's Nano with ATmega 328. This is already set up. The baud is already, everything's done for me once I installed the driver off that little sheet that came with it. And you see there's a whole bunch of things you can do, and there's lots of them, lots of options here, but it tells you on that paper this is the one you want. And once you get that, you see this option C. It's the Arduino BLHeli bootloader. And it tells you right there it's for Atmel or Scilab's BLHeli bootloader. Now you can use Simon K firmware this way too, if you want to. I mean, that's one of the things that's available. And you can either click here, which will do it, or you see this letter C here, it's telling you what your options are. When you come up to select the interface, there's the Scilab's BLHeli bootloader through the USB COM port. When you do that, before you connect, down here you'll see your ports, and if you drop down you'll find this Nano with ATmega 328 and the proper COM port number and all that. You do that before you click on connect. It'll just be there. It's really very simple. Then you wind up back on this Scilab's ESC setup, and after you flash, first thing you have to do is read your setup. Once you've got it read into memory, you have to do some saving and things like that. You have to make sure you have it saved. You can also, in here, you can read from an INI file right there. And after you're connected, you can see you can save the setup to an INI file. So if you're working with individual ESCs that are not connected to a flight controller, this can save you some time. Now later on, as I mentioned earlier, when you get connected to a flight controller, then you can use CleanFlight's pass-through capability. So you're no longer connecting to the USB, you're connecting through CleanFlight. The trick to that is you don't connect after you connect the cord to the flight controller, but you don't connect in CleanFlight. You come back here and connect here. And when you do, after you read the setup, you'll have a bunch of little boxes down here for all the possible ESCs that could be connected to your flight controller, and they'll be numbered. Number 1 will be over here, it'll be a master, and the other 3 will be slaves. So you connect, you flash firmware, whatever you do in here will be copied over automatically to the others. So that'll save you an awful lot of time. And again, go to Joshua Bardwell's YouTube site, watch his videos, especially about all the settings for BLHeli Suite. And I'm telling you guys, it's really worth watching. Your PIDs can only do so much, and they're only going to be as accurate as your ESCs are. And it's not that hard. There's quite a few things in here that are, really, I keep saying quite a few. There's like maybe 6 or 7 things that you really want to do in here. And the reason is the values that you see in here, like this max throttle. That's what the ESC thinks. Okay. Now what CleanFlight thinks, and even what your controller, like your Tyrannus or whatever transmitter you're using, the actual value that it has in there might not match either of those two, so they don't match up. But through this and CleanFlight and the subtrims on your transmitter, you can get those things all really close together so that they're all within the range. Everything works really smooth, and I'm telling you, I haven't got a chance to do it yet, okay, but I understand computers and I understand information systems, and it makes a difference if they're all talking the same language and the same scales and rates. So this is worth doing. I highly recommend you do it. It's free. You can take a look at it even if you're not doing anything with it. And that's it for this installment of the Seriously Ghetto workshop. I'll be back tomorrow with an unboxing of my Tyrannus X9D Plus. And thanks for watching. I'll see you then.